Good morning. Welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, your host. Delighted to have you with us this beautiful morning. As the clocks have moved back, and so therefore I am more awake than normal, which is a great thing. It's really very strange. Usually I'm half asleep when I do this. We're honored to have in studio Marcy Heath of Insurance Solutions of the South. It's become a tradition.
It is a tradition.
We began our annual meeting, what was it, 2010?
It was 2010.
On that fateful Christmas Eve night when they voted in Obamacare.
Yes. And we've been stuck with it ever since.
And I think they voted in by one or two votes, and we preached and we against it, and nobody undid it. And it's still with us, and it looks like it's going to be with us for all times to come. Hillary Care failed. Ronald Reagan won against socialized medicine, but here it is. Well, that's what we're going to talk about this morning. So let me give a bio for those of you who are tuning in who have never tuned in before when you've been on the program, and let's take a minute, but I think it's all good. Founded in 1997, Insurance Solutions of the South, owned by Marcy Heath, is an insurance brokerage consulting firm that's been serving its clients in Georgia and Alabama for over 26 years. Recognizing the need and having a passion for assisting others, Marcy began her career working at her dad's local insurance company in Tallapoosa. Her company has grown into a thriving client-focused business serving both Georgia and Alabama. Marcy's extensive knowledge and experience has earned her company a stellar reputation of integrity, trust, and compassion. Marcy's outstanding performance in the health insurance field has earned her feature articles and front-page notoriety in CIO magazine and many other publications. Marcy is certified with several national insurance carriers, including Anthem, Cigna, Humana, Aetna, United Healthcare, and other A-rated carriers, which offer her clients an array of healthcare and Medicare options. If you want a company that prides itself on exemplary customer service, attention to detail, and servicing client after the sale, call Insurance Solutions of the South at 770-537-5300. A lot easier to read when you're awake.
When you're awake,
I'll tell you. Anyway, well, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, give us an update. We started off by telling, starting in 2010, and here we are 12 years later. Ooh. So, everybody's got insurance. Everybody's happy with their insurance. The costs are down, et cetera, et cetera. What's the current state of healthcare?
So the current state of healthcare, every time we come to do this show, I keep on replaying in my mind having Obama say, if you like your doctor, you can keep it.
Your doctor, yeah.
That is so far from the truth. And it seems like in West Georgia that we struggle every single year. We do have, several different carriers that we can choose for this year. However, if you want to go to Tanner, then you only have one option,
which is Blue Cross.
Which is Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So for this year, for Haralson and Carroll counties, you've got Blue Cross, which, if I remember correctly, Blue Cross and Blue Shield Anthem has changed their name. It's Elevance Health. But their stuff is still going by Anthem as of right now. But you've got Anthem, you've got a new carrier called Friday Health Plans, and then, of course, you have Better and you have Alliant.
Well, let me kind of interrupt a second. So explain to us, for those who don't know and don't fully understand, open enrollment is now ongoing through January 15th. What does that mean?
So basically what that means is you just have more of an extended period in order to sign up for coverage. However, if you want your coverage to start January the 1st, we have to have the application submitted by December the 15th. But it does extend into January the 15th for the people that, I guess forget or want extra time to choose. But if you submit your application January the 15th, then your coverage is going to start February the 1st.
But this is only for the people who are in the quote-unquote marketplace, is that right?
So, yes. individual coverage for individuals and families, like to where you can actually get like the premium tax credit. So we've got some other carriers that we deal with that is traditional, like before Obamacare, before the ACA was passed, to where you can actually purchase all during the year. But if you're wanting to take advantage of the premium tax credit to go through the marketplace, then you've got that window from November the 1st to January the 15th to sign up for coverage.
When, a few times I end up talking to people about health insurance. The main topics, it seems like, are number one, how much does it cost? And then number two, what's the deductible? How are we faring these days with that?
So this year, and it's really interesting because if you remember, the American Rescue Plan actually allotted more dollars towards the subsidies. So you would have thought that the premiums had went down because you're getting more of a premium tax credit. Well, for 2023, all of the insurance carriers submitted for rate increases. So you're looking at, like, for my example, I've got Alliant. I pay about $476 for me and Brandon. Nothing's changing. Income is the same, and we're doubling. We're going to $900. So
are they just pocketing the subsidy from the federal government?
So they are taking into account the subsidy from the government. Their reasoning behind their rate increases is that they're having to pay more money to doctors, hospitals, etc. Which I find kind of interesting, because if you look at Anthem has like their own contracts with doctors, so that's already set. That hasn't changed unless they've went to renegotiate and the hospitals are wanting more. Cigna, Friday Health Plans, and Better, like all of the insurance carriers have their own contract. So Blue Cross and Blue Shield might be getting paid, $100,000 for, a certain procedure, to where Better might be getting paid $50,000. So it just depends on how the carriers are contracting with the hospitals. And I wouldn't think that those would have increased that much, in order to increase premiums.
Are hospitals being more transparent or less so in the last few years in terms of cost?
So, of course, the biggest hospital system in our area is Tanner. Tanner is being transparent with their prices. I have not checked Wellstar or, Floyd. Floyd actually got bought out by Atrium.
I didn't know that.
Floyd and Redmond both got bought out by Atrium Health. So I have not checked theirs. Of course, a lot of our clients, that Tanner is who they use. So we've really kind of dove into that information, and their transparency is pretty much on point.
Okay, so, so the cost of the plans are not necessarily going down.
No.
What about the deductibles? Are they going up?
So, it really depends on where you fall in the federal poverty level, okay? So if you're like at 150% of the federal poverty level, and let's say like if you're an individual, if you're just one person, you have to make at least $13,000 in order to qualify for a premium tax credit. So if you're an individual and you make around $13,000, you're pretty much going to have lower deductibles, other than somebody that is at 400% of the poverty level, okay? So if you've got an individual and they're making $13,000, they're going to get like a pretty much a low deductible, zero deductible, and then their max out of pocket is going to be lower. If you're at 400, so let's say that one person's making $150,000, then of course the deductibles are going to be higher and your max out of pocket is going to be higher. So max out of pocket for 2023 has increased to $9,100.
Okay. All right. It's becoming clear, crystal clear. I want to say that it's easier to get a 4-year college degree than understand some of this stuff. I'll tell you what. Let's take a break. I got many more questions. Hopefully we'll clear them all up when we come back with Insurance Solutions of the South and Marcy Heath.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
I'm Michael Flynn, Oak Mountain Academy class of 1978.
Katie Flynn, class of 2010.
Justin Flynn, class of 2014.
Logan Flynn, class of 2019.
And I'm Marnie Flynn, current teacher at OMA.
My uncle Richard Owen Flynn, a founding father of Oak Mountain Academy, had a vision to see students become confident leaders who hold a faith-based value system in an academically rigorous environment. We are proud to celebrate 60 years of fulfilling my uncle's vision.
Our family invites you to visit the campus or oakmountain.us today.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, your host. Delighted to have you with us. We're also on Facebook Live, and so if you have any questions or comments regarding insurance, health insurance, please post them there. Well, we started talking about 2010, but life really changed 10 years later in 2020 with the pandemic and COVID. And I know a lot of us put off regular health care, tests, et cetera, exams, whatever, because of COVID. You know. So how has that impacted health insurance and the insurance industry? Because now everything's kind of bunched up for a year or two later.
Yeah, so during COVID, you basically, like all of your elected procedures were basically on hold. I know, like, even I went to go get a mammogram and had to reschedule because of COVID. So here we are, 2022, and you're finally getting to where you're opened up, to where, people are going to get the care and going to go get the surgeries that are needed. So all of those claims that should have happened in 2020 were held off. So it's like they're all kind of hitting now. Really? Yes. So I know for individual insurance, of course, we're looking at 10 to 15% increase for 2023, but that's also the same for the group market. So group market, as far as utilization, hospital costs, doctors' costs, they're looking to increase around 10 to 15% as well.
So how does that bode for the future? I mean, are we always just going to be sitting here year after year talking about increases?
So there are some things that you can do, to rectify that situation. Not so much in the individual market, just because you basically have to take the plan that that's offered. On the group side, we're doing some unique things to where we can pretty much kind of control and mitigate cost to keep the health insurance renewals down. So for an example, one of our larger groups, their renewal came in for January the 1st, and they got a 3%.
When you say larger group, I mean, you're talking about businesses or industry, correct? So you service them. How are they doing in this environment in terms of offering plans for their employees?
So if you're in the ACA market, okay, so you've got ACA for individuals, but then you also have ACA plans for groups. Sometimes groups have to go to the ACA if they have a lot of medical, conditions that are within their group. Sometimes it's easier for them just to go ACA because it's non-rating. Basically the rate is the rate. Some of the unique things that we are doing, your average deductible, from looking around to different companies is $5,000. Our average deductible is $3,500. A lot of our companies have $3,500, 100%. And like I said, some of the unique things that we implement with our plans helps mitigate some of that cost.
I think you mentioned Now, if you don't have a health insurance, there's no penalty for
No.
next year. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so during the Trump administration, that was one of the things that he tried his best to dismantle the ACA. But one of the things that he did get passed during his term was that if you don't have health insurance, then you don't get penalized.
So that was the no individual mandate, correct? Okay, I've never really fully understand that.
Yeah, which, to be quite honest with you, it was really kind of crazy to have that in that law anyway, because like the first year that the ACA actually took effect and people started enrolling in Marketplace, like to not have insurance, your fine was like $300. Okay, well if you're having to pay $400 a month for insurance, wouldn't you much rather, if
Pay
you
the
didn't want
$300.
insurance, just pay the $300? And then I think like the next year it increased to like $600. So the fine for not having insurance was never steep enough to make people want to actually get insurance.
And then the larger question of whether the federal government can force you to buy an individual private product or service.
Right.
That was challenged in court. What do you know? Whatever happened with that? Don't know.
I
Don't know.
I don't.
Okay, with all this going on, how does inflation impact? Because obviously inflation is impacting everything, everybody, and everything everywhere. How does it impact healthcare insurance?
Health insurance. So, of course, if hospitals charge more, if doctors charge more, if an MRI costs more, of course, that's going to impact insurance. And with inflation, everything else is inflated. Of course, healthcare is going to inflate as well.
Okay, all right. But we mentioned Tanner being transparent, but now transparency is more important than people really understand. Because
Yes.
with that transparency, you have control over whatever services or treatments, et cetera, that are provided by the healthcare provider, correct?
Yes. So transparency is huge. And when I'm talking to some of my employers, this is kind of the thing that, that we talk about with our plans is that, employees can spend, and even CEOs and CFOs and, business owners, you spend a month looking for a car. And you're going to shop, to make sure that you get the best deal. Or if you need a washer and dryer, you're going to shop Lowe's, you're going to shop Home Depot, you're going to shop, Walmart, whatever.
Sears down here,
Yeah,
which
Sears.
Which is advertised with.
But then when it comes to healthcare, it's like nobody shops prices. And, you could get the same procedure at one hospital that's going to cost you $1,000 to where you can maybe go to Noonan and get the procedure and it costs you $400.
But you've got to have a hospital like Tanner that's transparent with that.
Correct.
And not all are.
No. It's very difficult for hospitals, I think, to be transparent because they have so many price points. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is that, like, if I go in as a cash pay person, I don't have insurance, I'm going to pay one price. If you've got Blue Cross and Blue Shield, they've got a different contract than having me paying cash. Okay, so all these insurance carriers have different price points. Then you have Medicaid that has a different price point. Medicare has a different price point. So to me it would be very difficult for them to come out with being transparent because there's so many price points. It's like, which one are they going to go with?
The cash buyer gets the best deal, right?
They do.
So if you can do it all in cash,
and that's another thing that we do in some of our health plans is like if you need a CAT scan or an MRI, if you go to the hospital, it's going to cost you $5,000. Okay, well, if you've got a $3,500 deductible, you're basically going to have to pay $3,500 because that's like your upfront cost. But you can go to Noonan and get an MRI or a CAT scan, and it's going to cost you $400. Yeah, you're going to have to drive to Noonan, but I would drive 30 or 45 minutes to save $3,100.
So, but that puts a patient who's ill, most likely, or quite probably into a situation that they don't want to deal with. which is, and I've got to compare price when I've got this pain in my side and I need to be treated ASAP. So the practicality of it is not always there.
That is true. But like I always, if I've got somebody that's going to operate, okay, if I need to go in for an operation, I would much rather have an A-rated doctor that, that I know that their success rate is, is top quality, than to have a doctor that, they have reinfection rates and,
Sure.
readmissions and stuff like that.
Competition's good for the soul,
That is
and that's
right.
really the best way to bring down healthcare costs. Our guest this morning is Marcy Heath, Insurance Solutions of the South. We got a lot more we want to talk about, but first, these words.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
As a believer in the power of education, we are called to set the standard by shaping and empowering the minds of future generations through quality education. Oak Mountain Academy embraces this philosophy, which is why my children attend this prestigious school. I am elated to serve on the OMA Board of Trustees, where together we prepare students and remind them to trust and believe in the power to transform the world. I'm Dr. Brian Bain, inviting you to celebrate our 60-year legacy of academic excellence. Visit us at oakmountain.us.
Good morning. Welcome back to Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, your host. Marcy Heath, Insurance Solutions of the South, is in the studio. Our annual meeting with Marcy. How about that? I like that.
Yeah.
Annual meeting with Marcy. All right. You're like me. You're just this poor slob out there, slugging through life and, tripping over yourself most of the time. And you're that individual, paycheck to paycheck. What's your recommendation for that singular individual that, is struggling with inflation, struggling to make ends meet?
So of course, I would probably recommend the marketplace for them. If they're living paycheck to paycheck, I would imagine that they're probably around minimum wage, and depending on their status as far as if they're married, if they claim children, they could pretty much get a plan for free.
So that's a great point, because we often hear about that poor working class that's above the welfare state but below really, making it in a comfortable way. So that does address this.
Yes, it does. So really, to be honest, the only I guess you could say class of people that are still kind of like just hanging and they're kind of thrown in between, different tiers, is the people that make below the federal poverty level. Okay. So if you make below 150% of the federal poverty level, some states, actually, did the Medicaid. Georgia did not.
Right.
So if you fall below 150%, you're kind of, I always call it the black hole, because you're
Right.
just, you're in a hole and it's like you can't really do anything. You can't get Obamacare because you don't make enough money, but then you can't get Medicaid because the state doesn't offer it.
Right. Okay. Now, the open enrollment ends January 15th.
It does.
And so therefore, open enrollment for the marketplace won't occur again for another year.
That is correct.
So if that's where you want to enroll and you don't make it by the 15th, then you're just out of luck.
You're just out of luck. Yeah.
Can you explain that to me? I've never understood that.
So the reason why they implemented that in the ACA is because they've got the open enrollment period to where you can go in and buy insurance. Okay. So insurance carriers have no idea like what they're getting until open enrollment. What they wanted to do was they wanted to make Americans a little, I guess you could say, more responsible, to where if you wanted insurance, you've got a window that you can do it. What they didn't want is they didn't want somebody to, wait till April or May, find out that they have cancer and go, oh my gosh, now I need insurance, and then go into the system because it is guaranteed issue. So it doesn't matter if you have cancer, if you have AIDS, if you have Parkinson's, diabetes, whatever. If you go through the marketplace, there is no pre-existing. So they start covering your stuff day one. So they wanted to eliminate that for people just to buy it just when they need it, and then after they get their test done or their treatment done and they're cancer free, then they drop it again.
So what happens if they miss the open enrollment and then a month later they're diagnosed with stage 4 cancer?
They're just
SOL?
out. Yeah, they're just out. The only time that you can come into the marketplace outside of open enrollment, you have to have a qualified event. So that's marriage, that's the death of a spouse, that's having a baby, losing coverage. Like if you work at a company, you lose your job, lose your insurance, then of course that's a qualified event.
But now, those who would be outside and then they have a catastrophic illness, then they would fall under indigent care, right? Mm-hmm. Which the hospitals and the taxpayers take care of. So no one's turned away. Mm-mm. But the payment for those services is borne by the hospital and the taxpayer, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, on this cheery note, this is such a cheery program.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Well, we only got a couple minutes left. Tell us about, you've got 2 locations now to serve. So
we do.
Tell us where they are and how to go about finding you.
So we are offering 2 locations for our clients. We have our same location in Bremen, where we've always been. We are there 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
And where is that?
It's 200 Buchanan Street North in Bremen. And then we have our location in Villarica. We just moved there in July, and that is 1 Community Square Boulevard, and we're in Suite 102. We're on the bottom of Regions Bank Building, and we're there Monday through Friday.
Well, it used to be Regions Bank Building.
It used to be Regions Bank Building.
Yeah, I don't know where they went, but they're not there anymore.
They are.
They
Regions,
are?
Yeah, they are.
Well, forgive me.
Yeah, they're in the front. They're in the front door.
Oh, okay. They're in the front door, but they don't have like the whole building anymore. Okay, that's cool. Now, your Bremen office on 200 Buchanan Street, that's downtown.
Yes, it is.
And what's the landmark that's near?
So,
is there a landmark?
So the Sewell Mill facility.
The Sewell Mill building.
Yep,
yeah,
Sewell Mill.
Okay.
We're right behind Sewell Mill.
All right. And so you're there, and your team's there to help in any way they can. Mm-hmm. Again, open enrollment is now through January 15th. And tell me again, January 1st, you said?
So if you want coverage by January the 1st, we have to submit your application by December the 15th.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Is this a long, laborious process, or is it pretty?
Oh, no, it's really easy.
Pretty pain-free,
It's pretty pain-free. If you bring the right documents, like your Social Security card, your driver's license, last year's taxes, we have to submit all of that. It takes us maybe 10, 15 minutes.
So it is pain-free.
It is pain-free.
And the phone number. Do you remember the phone number?
I do. Our telephone number is 770-537-5300.
Our guest this morning has been Marcy Heath, Insurance Solutions of the South, for her annual checkup with us. I'm going to get really deep into these analogies and metaphors. That's fun. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I look forward to seeing you in 2023.
Yeah.
If not sooner.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening to the Community Voice here on WLBB Carrollton.